Hey, welcome back to another episode of the MindShare PodCast. This show is sponsored by Kits Keep In Touch Systems, a two-time international award-winning marketing suite for sales professionals. REM, Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier monthly magazine for real estate professionals. The ORCF, the Ontario Realtors Care Foundation, enabling and empowering realtors across Ontario to fundraise in support of shelter-related causes in the communities in which they live and work. You can learn more about all of our sponsors by visiting my site, mindshare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle so you can build more mindshare to get more market share. Plus, learn more about our one-to-one coaching and keynote speaking. Today's episode is number 304. So we've had some, as always, some great past few shows. We on episode 301, actually, it was another solo episode, you and me, talking about struggling with consistency. And I gave you, steps for how to stay committed and see the results that you ultimately want. And we know that consistency is the magic ingredient to achieving anything you want in life. And so, again, achieving it, well, it's imperative, but it's not always simple. And so I gave you those steps, and I do hope you listen to that episode 301, Struggling with Consistency. On episode 302, we talked about maximizing success and how real estate agents can reach their full potential in a changing market. I had a colleague of mine in the industry, Mr. Ron James. He's actually another coach, great guy, been around the industry a number of years. And we had a great conversation around, again, how to maximize success. So I hope that you tuned into that. And of course, just last week we had episode 303, and we interviewed Tamar Mecki. Now, Tamar was the lead fundraiser. He was the top fundraiser for the motorcycle ride for charity that I was talking all about for a number of weeks and months, put on by the ORCF, the Ontario Realtors Care Foundation. Great guy. I've had the opportunity to meet him. I've had the opportunity to ride with him, and getting the opportunity to actually have him on the show as part of as part of his his winning and his award, his reward for being the top fundraiser. I actually got to learn more about the fact that he is very, very involved in a lot of charitable causes and giving back to the community. We talked a lot about how that benefits him and why he's doing it. And, how does he raise so much money when he's involved in stuff and putting on his own events. And so, again, a great episode for everybody to tune into. We talk a lot about building mindshare, a lot about getting out there in the community, a lot about connecting with new people. And, of course, when you are doing things that are good for people and you're helping others, you do get the opportunity to meet a lot of people. And I know there's a lot of you out there that are doing that type of stuff where you're, again, giving back. Anyhow, great episode. Again, episode 303, why and how he gives back so much. This was the ORCF's Motorcycle Ride for Charity top fundraiser, Tamar Mecki. Again, be sure to tune into that episode. So today, once again, it is just you and me for another solo episode. But as always, I've, of course, got a power-packed session for you. And whether you know or not, this past week I was actually in Winnipeg speaking at an event. But of course, as I always talk about consistency and just did a moment ago with you, I made sure we got this episode out for you regardless. And of course, that's a big part of, again, how we get out there. And I will continue to say it, but build the mind share to ensure that we are, gaining more market share. Now, in this episode, we're going to dive into public speaking. What? Stay with me here. We're going to dive into public speaking, why it's a game changer for your business, how to better manage your time as a high performer, what we might call a top producer, how to turn challenges into opportunities. And I'm also going to try to get you prepared for Q4, giving you strategies to finish the year strong and crush it in 2025. And then lastly, we're going to get into a topic that's maybe not talked about very often. We're going to talk about self-care. Because if you don't take care of yourself, none of this stuff matters anyways. And then by the end of the episode, you'll have some, what I hope to be some very clear direction and some action steps to implement that you can put into play immediately. So grab a notebook and of course, let's dive in. And of course, if you are driving, do not touch that notebook. But you got access to this episode. You can re-listen to it. You can, you cannot watch it this time because as always with the solos, we're not live. But anyways, let's get into this, okay? So I want to kick things off with public speaking. Now, you might be thinking, but Dave, I'm not a speaker. Wrong. We are all speakers. See, whether you're in front of a client, whether you're pitching your services, whether you're presenting to a group, or even just posting videos online, your ability to communicate clearly. See, I didn't even communicate that clearly. Your ability to communicate clearly and effectively is what is truly going to help you drive your business forward. People need to understand you. People need to see you. People need to hear you. They need to be able to come back to you. And this is all part of, again, when you become a better speaker, when you become somebody that can communicate more clearly, people will hear you more and understand you better. And well, hey, that's going to lead to all sorts of opportunities. So, look, but one thing I do realize that public speaking is one of the biggest fears that most people have in life. And I got to say, that's just another feather in my cap to what is absolutely wrong inside my brain, because I completely thrive on public speaking and truly being able to deliver a message that helps many people at the exact same time. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. I truly enjoy it. And I do have to say, it's you take a stage, you come off the stage, and it's like a high. And it's not about the fact that people were listening to my voice or seeing me. It was about the fact that you get to deliver a message. You get to make impact on a lot of people in one swoop, let's call it. And that was something that I picked up years ago, right? Now, I also want to state that I'm not encouraging you to become my competition. But I do want to help you become more comfortable with something that most people completely don't even allow themselves to try. You see, the greatest speakers aren't born. They're made. And you can get better just like any other skill in life. But why should you care about this one? Well, again, if you can speak confidently, you are able to influence, you are able to persuade, you are able to build stronger relationships with people. And naturally, that translates to growth. So if we break this down a little bit, right? First and foremost, and again, I do want to go back to what I said before a moment. Whether it's presenting to a group, you're pitching services, you're just posting a video. So this isn't necessarily just you took a stage. But the first thing you have to do, and it's the same thing that I do whenever I'm preparing for a talk. I want to know who is my audience. And that's the first step. You always got to think about your audience. Who are you trying to speak to? Speak with? Present for? Who are these people? Now, whether it's a room of, full of potential clients or maybe it's an audience on social media, you need to truly connect with them. You need to know their pain points, their desires, their motivations. What's truly driving them? Again, example. I speak with a lot of audiences, especially here within the real estate industry. A lot of sales audiences as well. But understanding whether they're selling insurance, they're selling automotive, they're selling mortgage, they're selling real estate, that's an important differentiator for me because it can't be the exact same message for everybody. And if they're selling real estate, I want to know, well, how many people are there and how long has this group been in the business? And of course, everybody's an individual, but as you start to get a nucleus of the office, the brokerage, the brand, where they are in maybe the country, you can get a sense of demographic, of what resonates, certain words, certain stories. Is it an older demographic, a younger demographic? What are you going to spend more or less time speaking about? So again, knowing their pain points, their desires, their motivations, it's huge because again, the more you understand who you're speaking to, the more effectively we're going to be able to tailor that message. The next thing we need to consider, the art of storytelling. Now, stories are powerful. Like I'll tell you, one day I was at an event. Actually, we were booked for a series of events within the same sort of 3-4 days. So literally get on a stage, do what we got to do, afternoon, move over to another place, get on the stage. And like the 2 or 3 or 4 days was like, back-to-back presentations. Anyhow, I had taken a mentor of mine with me and we'd gone out to BC, I had a guy at the car rental place, and every time I would land, he would always hook me up with some awesome cars. And this particular one, he ended up hooking me up with a convertible Mustang GT. This thing was a blast. We did the Sea to Sky Highway on it, like we went for nice drives. Anyways, I'm having a good time with this guy. We're kicking ass, doing our thing on stage. And I remember the first time he saw me, like I came off stage and everybody's clapping and doing their thing. And, he says to me, he says, man, you're like really amazing at what you do. Like this, you are awesome. Like I've seen the videos, but like this is the first time I'm really seeing you live in front of a bigger audience. You're amazing, man. You feel good. I'm like, yeah, man, I feel good. He's like, man, look at them. They're clapping. They're enjoying it. They want to take pictures. Yeah, that's awesome, eh? I'm like, yeah. He goes, sit the bleep. This is MindShare podcast. He's like, sit the fuck down. I'm like, what? Holy shit. All right. So I sat down. All of a sudden, he took me from this like serious high of you're the man, you did so well, this and that. And he basically said to me, sit the fuck down. Don't ever do, and he grabs his fingers. He's like, don't ever do this and this and this and this and this. And he had like 3, 4, 5 things on his hand that he was basically telling me never, ever to do again on stage. And I thought, I didn't even realize I was doing that. The best part was I got to learn. I got to understand, yeah, they're enjoying. Yeah, there's some good things happening, but what could I do to be better? And I got to tell you, it was an amazing, amazing moment. Amazing moment because he hit me right in the forehead with the whole thing. The next day I got back up on stage, and while I was going through those parts of the presentation, I was looking him dead in the eye while I was doing it. And nobody in the audience really knew where I was looking, but I was looking at him. And he just, sort of with that thumb up and that little grin on his face, like, good job. You didn't do it again this time. Again, big learning moment. And it was very humbling, right? Because again, you think you're doing great, everybody's clapping. You think you really crushed it, only to find out you actually didn't. Or you did, but you can still be better. See, again, stories are powerful. They evoke emotion. They make your message more memorable. And what I'm trying to explain to you right now is we all make mistakes. We can all be better. There's always something we want to do better. So instead of just listing facts when you're doing a presentation, or facts and figures, let's say, weave in some sort of story that is going to illustrate your point. Okay, here, some examples for you maybe. If you're talking about challenges in the real estate market, share a personal experience. Share something that highlights your journey, the lessons that you've learned, and how it's led you to your current success. That's going to be a motivator. It's going to be inspiring for other people to hear that. And of course, like anything else, never, ever, ever forget about practicing. Every single time I'm going out to do a talk, whether I've done that talk before, like I said, I've got to understand who's my audience. I've got to understand the times of the market right now, what's actually going on out there. And whether I know my content or not, the reality is I'm always practicing. And even Jennifer said to me before, she's like, honey, well, like, why do you spend so much time rehearsing? You know your stuff. You're really good with it. And I said, but I want to be better. And I want to make sure I do the absolute best job I possibly can for whoever it is that has brought me in to do that job. I mean, look, you wouldn't show up to a listening presentation without being prepared, right? Well, the same goes for, public speaking, whether it's, again, on video or in front of an audience. Rehearse. Know your material. Practice your delivery. Don't shy away from feedback. Know what the comps look like. Know what your listing presentation looks like when you're getting in there. Don't just go and wing it. Be prepared. Be prepared to answer the hard questions. See, the more you practice, the more confident you're going to become. And hey, we say this all the time. Confidence breeds success, and success breeds confidence. So again, public speaking, and I'm going to continue to remind you, I'm not telling you necessarily need to do this up on a stage. But it's about connection. It's about storytelling. It's about preparation. When you can master those elements, you'll not only grow as a speaker, but you're going to grow as a leader in your field. You're going to grow as somebody who's actually achieving more because, again, you realized how to properly connect with other people. So as we talk about some action steps here, okay, and I'm going to give you some action steps on each one of the sort of sections that we're going to go through here. One is to, hey, if you can, try to see if there's an opportunity for a little bit of public speaking. Maybe it could be in front of a group that you're part of outside of work. Maybe it's at work. It doesn't have to be something big. It's just about trying to get in front of people and sort of break that ice, of the discomfort of the unknown of being in front of people. And then, of course, practice. Think about webinars. Think about, again, a local event. Think about some meeting, again, at your office or whatever. Maybe it's in front of your team. Maybe it's in front of your family. Another option when we talk about practicing is record yourself. Speaking on any particular topic, do it for 2 to 3 minutes, record, and I've done this, trust me, it's uncomfortable, but watch it back, evaluate yourself, and ask yourself, am I clear? Am I confident? Am I engaging? What was I doing with my eyes? What was I doing with my hands? What would I like to change? And again, I tell you, that can be uncomfortable sometimes. I've done it many, many times. And sometimes I even think to myself, like, oh my God, did I actually post that? Did people see that publicly? But you can't take it back. Done is better than perfect. There is no such thing as perfection. Perfection is subjective. We've talked about that. So practice. Record yourself. Another thing here. Start to develop a story bank. Okay? Start to just take in different stories that you've heard from others. Things that you've done with clients. Personal anecdotes. These things will humanize you. They will make you more relatable because you can share. So you can just start to track these things. Don't just let them be a fleeting moment in your day, but start to actually track them. What happened today? What was that situation today? Whether it was dealing with a buyer, a seller, a potential client, maybe a new opportunity. Maybe you tried to connect with somebody and it didn't go well. Share these things. Again, humanizing yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. And of course, getting feedback, like I talked about with my mentor, who totally smacked me in the face when he did that day. After you speak, after you record the video, after you host the webinar, whatever it is, ask for feedback. What worked? What didn't work? Again, constant improvement is the name of the game in anything in life. We all know that. Okay? So again, remember, public speaking is a growth multiplier. You master this skill of being able to communicate clearly with people, to connect with people, and bottom line, the opportunities will come. I mean, this can go for one-on-one conversations with people. So again, when we talk about public speaking, don't overblow this thing to you standing on a stage with all lights on you and the big screens and hundreds of thousands of people in the audience. I mean, if that's your desire, go after it. Okay, let's dive into some time management here. Yeah, I know. You're sitting there going, yeah, Dave, you talk about time management all the time. You're damn right I do. Think about how many people can't get this thing straight. And it's like, you've got to watch. You got a clock in your car. You got a clock in your bedroom. You got a clock everywhere you look, and you still can't figure this thing out. Come on. Anyways. By the way, it is a solo episode. There will be random sips of coffee going on between this episode. So look, we all know that time is our most valuable resource. But here's the problem. Most people run around feeling busy without actually being productive. And that right there is the absolute key difference between top performers and anyone else. And like top performers in any line of business. They know how to control their time instead of letting time control them. Period. Now, let me clarify there, because I talk a lot about time management. And I do say make time manage you. And so there is an aspect there of when we do say control your time instead of letting time control you. There is an aspect of letting time control you. There is an aspect of making sure that you operate to what that clock says, what that schedule says. You can't do everything, though, so stop trying. Focus on what really matters. Okay, those high-impact activities that do push your business forward. And guess what? It's not always the obvious stuff like answering emails or scheduling meetings. It is about setting priorities. It is about guarding your time like your life depends on it, because in business, it does. Here, you ever heard of the Pareto principle? 80-20 rule? The rule states that 80% of our results come from 20% of our efforts. So we can identify what those 20% are. What tasks are driving the most significant results for our business? We focus on those. It is an absolute game changer. Like in our one-to-one coaching system, we provide the exact tools to our clients to be able to actually track and measure the data, to do the analytics. This is like stats in sports. Take whatever game, baseball. What's his average or her average? What's their average? How many hits? How many strikeouts? How many walks? QABs, quality at bats. How many pitches do they see per at bat? Can they steal? What's their fielding like? Like, we look at all the percentages and we can look and say, okay, what is that athlete doing? Well, it's no different than, in business. What are you doing to generate opportunities? Then once you're generating those opportunities, what's actually working, what's not? The more we track the data, the more we can go back and say, well, hey, I can see what's working. I can see what's not working. Let's go do more of what's working. Again, you focus on that stuff. It's a game changer. And here's the thing. Time management isn't about squeezing more into your day. It's about being intentional with your time. You need to make conscious decisions about how you spend your hours when you are awake. So using a planner, and we've got the daily planner. You can go to the website, mindshare101.com. Using a digital calendar, I can tell you Loop CRM by Kits. This is exactly what you want to be using. It is a powerful CRM system, connected to marketing, connected to your contact list, keeps you completely organized. But using a planner, a calendar, this is where you block your time for the things that need to happen. And I'm talking like everything. And you got to stick to it like a commitment, like glue. Effective time management is about prioritizing the right activities. It is about setting boundaries. It is about being intentional with your time. And when you get this right, everything else falls into place, including what you want most in life. And that is whatever you've put down on your goals. So again, action steps here. Start every day the night before. In fact, start with even the 3 wins, the top 3 things that you are going to accomplish the next day to move the needle. It doesn't have to be the first 3 things you do, but make sure that those things are getting in there. Sometimes we'll call those non-negotiables. And in your day, sometimes we'll have some different things that need to be accomplished. There's also going to be those non-negotiables. Write them down, schedule them in, focus on getting them done. Time blocking. Dedicate chunks of time focused to work. Focused, and that could be prospecting. That could be some admin stuff. Blocks of time focused on email. Block of time focused on calls. Schedule in a few rolling blocks of time, like breaks, where you just know that there's nothing there right now. You know that that's the moment where you might just go grab a bite. Maybe you're going to go use the washroom. Maybe you're just going to stop and breathe for a minute. See, if it's not in your calendar, it truly doesn't exist. Yeah, well, I got to go to the grocery store. Okay, put it in. Got to do the laundry. Put it in. Well, what do you mean? I can't put that in my calendar. I got work to do. Yeah, but if you're going to stop and do the laundry, you're going to stop and do the dishes, or you're going to stop and do whatever and go get the milk and the eggs, why wouldn't it be in the schedule? Try saying no more often to people. Maybe to yourself. Look at your commitments and cut out anything that doesn't align with your main objectives. You've got to learn to protect your time. Hey, want to get together and go do this? Yeah, that sounds like fun. Oh, whoa. Did you look at the calendar before you said yes? And of course, outsource and delegate. Making a list that somebody else can handle. Remember the 80-20 we just talked about, Pareto? 80-20. Well, what can somebody do? They can help you with the 80% of those other tasks. You focus on the 20 that really drives. Let somebody else help you focus on the 80. See, when you can free yourself up to focus on the things that you do best, the things you do best will help you get better. So you can follow those steps. I promise you're going to see a dramatic improvement in your productivity, in your business results, in your life. Again, when we're setting goals, we always start with the personal stuff. We then start with we get into the business stuff, and together that's the stuff that will block into the schedule. And now we're working towards everything we want. Now, let's face it. Challenges are a given. Okay, so how do we turn challenges into opportunities? Well, you can't avoid them. Like, shit happens. But you can definitely change how you approach them. The top people, the top performers, the top producers, whatever you want to call them, in any industry, they don't necessarily see challenges as setbacks. Instead, they see them as opportunities. Every obstacle that we run into in a day is a chance to learn. It's a chance to adapt. It's a chance to get stronger. This is all about mindset. Think about the last challenge you faced. Did it slow you down? Did you find a way to turn it into a win, or did you just lament? See, when things get tough, it's really easy to focus on the negatives. But you got to shift your mindset to ask, what can I learn from this situation? How can I turn this into an advantage? Not why did it happen to me, but why did this happen for me? And now you start seeing the obstacles as stepping stones as opposed to challenges or walls that you just can't get by. You got to believe in life that the universe is serving it up to you for some reason to make you better, to make you stronger, to teach you something. And I know that sounds very woo-woo, and a lot of people would look and go, the universe. Or a lot of people would say, there's things that have happened in my life that certainly have no rhyme and reason to why they happened. It's a bunch of bullshit. It should have never happened. And I'll take that, and I'm sorry to say this, but that comes right down to the loss of a loved one. There's never a good explanation for that. There's never something that's going to be like, we had to lose this person in order for me to learn this. I get it. Like, you just can't fathom how there's any reason to that. Moreover, though, when we think about business, we think about somebody saying no. We think about an opportunity that we were about to jump on that we didn't end up getting, didn't come to fruition. We get down. It eats us up. It bothers us. But again, this is part of the mindset, right? What can we learn from it? Understand that you've been through them before. You're going to go through them again. Here, like for example, right? Consider a time when a deal fell through last minute. You know that feeling? You're working so hard for your client and all of a sudden just everything caves in? Instead of wallowing in disappointment, reflect on what went wrong. Was there a miscommunication? Did we miss a critical detail? And then use that to refine the process for future deals. It's how we get better. I'll take you right back to what I shared about the stage before. I thought it was doing fantastic. In fact, the entire audience stood up and clapped for me. Amazing, right? Well, all of a sudden, a few minutes after that, I realized, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, You go, wow. Okay, so there is something to learn. So no matter how good it feels, there's always something to learn, right? And this is what growth looks like. Now, another aspect to consider is what we call resilience. I told my baseball team this all the time this past season. They'd go out there, they'd play ball, they'd get into a situation where maybe the game wasn't going their way and they got down a bunch of runs. And all of a sudden they'd come back. In fact, I remember in our last baseball game of the season, in fact, last game of an era, unless we won, we'd go on in the tournament. This was the CNE tournament downtown. But in that last baseball game, we went down in the second inning by 6 runs. And of course, you're standing on the bench as a coach, and all the players are standing on the field, and you could just tell the energy was getting down. So I brought the guys over in between innings, and I just tried to pump them up because I know I've been working with these guys for a long time. They are a tough group of dudes. So it's like, all right, boys, and we had this big motivational moment there at the bench, and it was like, let's go get this. We came back that inning, we got 7 runs, we took the lead. Go figure, go down 6. Be resilient enough to come back and get those 7. Inevitably, we did end up losing the game. However, the point is resilience, right? Building resilience means the ability, it's developing the ability to be able to bounce back from setbacks. It's about maintaining a positive attitude even when things don't go as planned. Practicing, and again, it continues to be this common theme here today, but practicing, like mindfulness, practicing reflection, talking with mentors like I just mentioned to you that I did. This is all going to build that resilient muscle inside of us. It's going to make us tougher. It's going to give us the ability to deal with anything coming at us. You see, remember, it's not just about reacting to challenges. It's about being proactive, that we're looking for the opportunities within them. What did I learn? Yes, this sucks. Yes, I don't feel good. Hey, take your moment to yell, scream, cry, vent. Take a deep breath. Go stand outside for a moment of silence for yourself. But then in the next moment, figure out what you can learn from the opportunity. When you develop this mindset, you will find that challenges really don't derail you. Instead, they propel you forward. They make you better. And you got to understand that most people can't do this shit. Most people will sit there and stress and lament. Can you imagine being different than that? Being able to deal with whatever comes at you? I mean, think about some of the coolest cats you've ever seen out there, and they could be people that on your favorite TV show. It's like nothing rattles them. Again, they've changed their mindset. So some action steps here is to reframe your mindset. The next time a challenge comes up, stop. Ask yourself, what is the lesson here? Then take pen to paper, a big suggestion I always have for so many things in life. I know you know that. Write down 3 positive takeaways from that situation. Okay, so take a second, understand the situation, then write down what was positive here? What could I learn? What can I do to get better? Another step here is to identify stuff that is recurring, these challenges that keep coming up. What keeps coming up in the business? Maybe in life. Is there a system or a process we can create to handle this more effectively? So again, pay attention to things that keep happening. And lastly, turn failure into feedback. When things don't go as planned, don't view it as a failure. View it simply as data. Okay, again, asking yourself what worked, what didn't work, and how can I improve? Get the emotions out of it, or get them under control as quickly as you possibly can. The sooner you can get your emotions under control, the sooner you can figure out what you did right and what you did wrong, the sooner you can correct it and you can be better in the next situation. It's that simple. Just again, most people don't allow the mind to get into that place. So we just stress. And then we walk away and then we move on to something else. We need to be tactical with all this. These challenges aren't the enemy. They're the opportunity to level up. When you shift your perspective, you'll start seeing them differently. This coffee break is brought to you by, I don't know, MindShare 101. All right, Q4. Q4. How are we already into Q4? Where did this happen? Like, wasn't it just January 1st? Wasn't it Q4 2023, like just yesterday? Look, we're here, okay? And you know what this means. This means it is crunch time right now. Okay, how you finish this year right now, these next 3 months, it's going to set the tone for your next year. And the work you do now, right now, what you do over these next 90 days, this is what's going to determine whether you crush it or coast into the new year on fumes. Now again, most people, well, which one you want to be? See, because too many people wait until January to get serious about their goals. That is way too late. You need to be planning. You need to be executing your Q4 strategy like right now, so that by the time January hits, you're already ahead of the game. So let's start by reviewing your current pipeline, maybe, and we'll get into the dollars, because I know a lot of people are looking at the income goal, especially those of us in the sales world. A lot of that is driven by how hard we hunt or not. Do you have opportunities you can close before the end of the year? Engage with people. Connect with the people that inquired with you. Do the follow-up. Make sure that they know that you are available to help them before the year closes out. Maybe they got timelines. Figure out what those are. Okay, that's a business perspective. On a whole life perspective, I'd say focus on the goals. Go back to those goals that you created, let's say around maybe this time last year, that you did for this year. Identify what do you still need to accomplish by December 31st? How much? What is it? And how much of it? Again, it could be closing a certain number of deals. It could be adding more people to your database. It could be hitting a certain income target. Could be personal as well. Working out, vacation time, date nights, family time. How much weight you're losing. I mean, hell, I'll tell you right now, very transparently, as I look at my goals, I know that I fell off in mid-August because I basically pulled a, tore, had a very minor tear in my bicep, which scared the shit out of me because a buddy of mine basically tore his bicep and it's never come back. It just curled up on him, and I don't want that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to keep myself safe and I'm not going to go to the gym, for the next few weeks. I'm going to let it rest. Well, yeah, I got lazy as shit. I did not go to the gym and even do legs. I did not go out and do my walks. I figured if I drink a few more beers, I could still work out my arms and it'd be a good workout. Yeah, that didn't go very well. But I will say, I am locked back in. I am focused. I know exactly how to get back on those tracks because the systems and processes that I implement for myself and those that I even obviously work and teach with everybody I get to work with in our coaching systems. I will say though, the weight goal, I got some work to do right now, but I can see it clearly. I know exactly what needs to be done because I see what the goal is. I see where I'm at. I know the actions that need to be taken. So those actions are going to be scheduled into the calendar, and I'm going to hit that goal before the year's up. And that's on me. That's on me to get back at it. That's on me to make sure that it comes to life. Nobody else. I could ignore it, but I ain't going to do that because I got goals. So we've got to write the goals down. We've got to break them into actionable steps. And I mean, look, if you're just doing this now for 2024, you are late. But doing it for 2025, this is what we need to be start thinking about. You know, like, look, I'll tell you too, a big part of success in business is, you know, it includes very much networking with people. You know, the time to go and connect with others that are in the industry. And this is, again, part of why we love getting involved in a lot of the charitable causes in the industry, right? It gives us the opportunity to attend events. And this is what I'd say to you, like, get out there and meet with people. You know, join groups. Reach out to colleagues. Collaborate with people. You know, it could be local shop owners. You're getting to know people in the community. See, the relationships that you build right now, those are what are going to pay us dividends in the new year. And that's really the way we need to be thinking always. Everything we do now takes a little bit of time. Like you're planting the seed, you water in the garden. It's going to take time to bear fruit. The more focused we are on it, though, the more we accomplish. Focusing on marketing, okay, part of your goals as well. Q4 right now, prime time for campaigns. You got Halloween, you got the holidays. You know, leverage that spirit to engage clients and prospects. Send out personalized holiday cards. Do a pumpkin drive. You know, order wow calendars from Kits. Those things are the best. You will get more phone calls than you get on your birthday. Again, you know, your clients' names are personalized into every image on every page of the calendar while you're branded down at the bottom. This thing is just killer. People don't throw it out. You want to talk about building MindShare. You know, do a video message to your clients. You know, maybe send them the CMAs once a year and just let them know by video what you did for them. All of these things create connections. And again, the more we connect, and this goes right back to the public speaking we talked about earlier. Public speaking. I'm doing a variation of it right now with you. The key here, the goal here is to engage your audience and remind them that you're there to help. So Q4, don't look at it just like another quarter. This right now, this is your opportunity to finish strong, to set the stage for the success that you're going to have in 2025, which also means that we got to start putting 2025 planning into play. It's got to go into action. And I would suggest that to you that, you know, by mid this month of October, you are already starting to set the stage of what 2025 is going to look like. Like we are talking literally just in a few weeks from now, we're going to start planning for the new year. And if you're again thinking, oh my God, man, I got to finish this year strong before I can even think about next year. Hey, listen, that's all good. There's a lot of people, in fact, most people will think the same way. And that's why only so few people actually win, because those that get started early get out of the gate early and they win more. So some action steps here, okay? Go back and look, do what we'll call a pipeline review. Go through your leads. Go through all the new opportunities. Identify which ones could be closed before the year's up. Make a list and try to prioritize it. And you can't necessarily judge a book by its cover, but you know the conversations you've had with people. You know their motives. You know their timelines. Do your follow-up. Okay, don't just sit there and say, they'll call me. No. Don't do that to yourself. Okay, another action step here is to focus on the Q4 goals. Write that shit down. Create an action plan. What steps are you going to take? What actions are you going to do on a daily, on a weekly basis to achieve your goals? Networking. Be active with this. Attend at least, an event. Reach out to 3 people a day. Talk to people. Building the connections now, strengthening those connections now, they're going to pay off in the future. And again, you may not get the deal from the person you called today. They may not do something with you for another few years. But the fact of the matter is you're there, you're building the mind share, and the mind share is going to equal the market share. And as we talk about building mind share, ensure that you are also focused and always trying to polish that marketing strategy. We look back to our marketing plan for this year. We look at what needs to be done in Q4, schedule that stuff accordingly, and engage with people. And then again, as I sort of just been saying here, start thinking about planning for 2025. That is a huge action step for you. Do not wait till December to do that. Don't do that. Okay, let's finish this year strong, and let's set ourselves up for an epic 2025. That coffee break was also brought to you by MindShare 101. God, those guys are great over there. All right, finally, let's talk about self-care over here. We're all ambitious individuals, right? Well, it's easy for folks like us to get caught up in the hustle and the bustle of the day and everything we got to do, and it's very easy to forget about ourselves. But let me tell you, you are the absolute greatest asset that you have. If you don't take care of yourself, everything else falls apart. Think about people that you know. They don't live the healthiest lifestyle. A buddy of mine, and this dude's an amazing, amazing dude, just went through a quadruple bypass, right? And you got to ask, why? And then you got to say, well, what can we do to make sure that we don't go through that again, that we do come out of that on the right side, and that we can live, a healthier, stronger lifestyle for ourselves. And look, self-care, when we talk about this isn't just go to the spa, do relaxation days. This is about making sure that you are mentally and physically fit to perform at your best. Eating well, exercising regularly, ensuring that there is time to recharge. So think about your daily routine for a moment. Are you prioritizing your health? We're really good at feeding our bellies every single day, 3, 4, or 5 times a day. How often do you feed your brain? See, it's not just enough, and I will say you are feeding your brain right now, and I sincerely, all jokes aside, I thank you for tuning into the podcast. I really do. This is feeding your brain. But it's not just enough to, quote unquote, power through. You need to build the right habits to support your well-being. And again, this could be something as simple as starting your day with reviewing your goals, practicing gratitude. That's exactly how I do it. Start off with obviously a healthy breakfast. Maybe a little bit of physical exercise, maybe just a simple walk. Some people do yoga. Some people go right to the gym. I remember my trainer at hockey, Josh was training for the hockey team, but he said to me once, a couple of years ago, he's like, are you walking? I'm like, no. He goes, okay, go for a 20-minute walk. I'm like, dude, a 20-minute walk? He goes, are you walking? I'm like, no. He says, so go for a 20-minute walk. I'm like, but dude, it's a 20-minute walk. He goes, Dave, I'm not having this conversation 3 times with you. It literally went like that. I said, but how is a 20-minute walk going to do anything for me? He says, are you walking? I'm like, no. He says, go. Fine. I'll go for a 20-minute walk. And of course, as you start doing the 20-minute walk, you can start doing a 30-minute walk. And next thing you know, you did get your heart pumping a little bit, and you did get a little bit of a sweat, and you do need some more water. And then eventually you start to get even stronger at that. So you decide, okay, I'm not only going to go for the walk, but I'm going to go to the gym. So the gym becomes 60 minutes, and then it's 90 minutes, and now you're feeling amazing. Do something physical. And of course, do not forget to prioritize your mental health. We talked about being resilient. We talked about looking at the challenges and finding the opportunities. No shot you can get that done if you are not prioritizing your mental health, if you are not feeding your brain. So the same thing. Just like we schedule meetings and we schedule time for ourselves, whether it's meditation, whether it's journaling, whether it's yoga, whether it's reading, whether it's listening to this very podcast, or simply disconnected from work for a bit, it is essential to find a practice that helps us stay grounded, helps us clear our minds. For me, as often as I can, and you could argue, hey, Dave, make more time for it. Well, I'll tell you, there are things that are called priorities. But riding my motorcycle is one of those things for me on mental health. It puts me in an amazing place. By myself, I'm not on the phone. I'm just cruising. And hey, that can get scary too sometimes. If you're on the road too long, the thoughts, the mind, where it goes. The reality is, though, there's the disconnect. There's the reflection time. And I made comment just a second ago there around, finding the time. Well, we're also, as you know, very heavily in sports, involved in sports, and so there's going to be priorities there. Okay, but, regardless, do not ever be afraid to ask for help. Whether you're hiring a coach, you're talking to a therapist, you're leaning on friends and family, seeking support is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. You need to recognize when you need to take a step back and just simply recharge. And of course, I do need to take this moment to suggest that you do set up a free Explore call with myself or my team to learn more about our one-to-one coaching, our one-to-one performance coaching system. It is a game changer. I won't go into it like crazy here. For those of you coaching, you know what we're talking about. For those of you that are not, find out more. Go to MindShare101.com. You can click on one-to-one coaching. You will be able to book an Explore call with us. Just learn more. No strings attached. It's free. Thing is, again, remember, taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. You cannot be better for others if you are not better for you. And when you are at your best, your business thrives, your relationships flourish, and you get to show up for your clients and your community in a way that truly, truly, truly makes an impact. So again, some action steps. Create a self-care plan. What does self-care look like for you? Write down at least 3 activities that you're going to commit to each week. I'm going to read. I am going to journal. I'm going to review my goals. I'm going to work out. Yes, that was 4. But that's what I do. Okay, schedule the time in your calendar. Again, I cannot stress it enough. You got to block out the periods of exercise, or for exercise, for relaxation, for reading, for anything else that helps recharge you. Yes, in my calendar, the first thing in my day says review. Simply put, review your goals and write in your gratitude journal. I have time in there that says read. I have time in there that says work out. And yes, those will take up moments of time in the day that it could be working. Well, it can't just be working. If all I'm doing is working, I am not a happy guy. I'm not a positive guy. I'm not seeing the opportunities in life. I'm not enjoying life. And what the hell am I working for if I'm not going to go and enjoy? See what I'm saying here? So again, blocking out these periods, this is what's going to help recharge you. Now I'm going to tell you, reflect daily. Okay, I do it hourly. See, at the end of each hour, at the end of each block of time, I ask myself, did I do what I was supposed to do? Did I get it done? What can I do better? And where do I got to go next? Obviously there's always what can I improve? And then it's let's keep moving. And as I'm doing that, I'm constantly pushing forward. I'm constantly learning and I'm constantly getting better. And of course, again, connect with somebody that can support you. Again, a mentor. It could be a mentor. It could be a coach. It could be a friend. Make that connection. Talk about your goals. Talk about your well-being. Have the opportunity to express. We get so reserved with how much is it going to cost? And, I don't really know if it's going to work. Listen, I'm not Amazon. When you sign up with us, you don't get a box in the mail tomorrow. I will tell you, though, when it comes to your success, your life, your business, the more you want, we're going to get you there. That's what we do. Take care of yourself first, and everything else will thrive. All right. That is it for today's episode. I really hope that you're walking away from this one with some real clear steps to help you grow, to really manage your time better, to turn challenges into opportunities, to crush Q4, and most importantly, take care of yourself. Remember, success does not come from doing more. It comes from doing the right things consistently. So take these steps I gave you, put them into practice, and let's crush it together. If you did like today's episode, again, share it with somebody who needs to hear this message, and don't forget to leave a review. It always helps a ton. You're either listening to this on one of your favorite podcast platforms, or maybe you went to my website, MindShare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to learn more about our one-to-one coaching, group training, and keynote speaking. And of course, download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle so you can build more mindshare to earn more market share. For all inquiries, just get in touch with us today. And don't forget, of course, please leave a review of this podcast. Very super simple, www.ratethis.podcast.com/MindShare101. It's a quick, easy link to take you to either Spotify, iTunes, or wherever else you like to listen to your podcast. If we haven't yet, let's connect on Facebook and TikTok at MindShare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to thank Kits Keep in Touch Systems, REM Magazine, and the ORCF, the Ontario Realtors Care Foundation, for sponsoring the MindShare Podcast. This has been another episode of the MindShare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.